My name is Owen Snape, and I'm presenting on the 2013 to 2016 winter floodings of Great Britain. So the main weather pattern that caused these floodings were large storms. Consistent heavy rainfall overwhelmed larger rivers and pounded the British land in 2013. This rainfall continued for months with small respites, but flows in major rivers continued to decline, and floodplains were just inundated with high levels of standing water. In 2015, these first storms, Abigail, Barney, and Clodagh, pummeled the area and combined with future storms, which was up to Storm Imogen. The highly saturated soil was extremely vulnerable to flood warnings after any amount of rainfall. On top of the excessive amount of rainfall, the temperatures during all 3 years were lower than average, resulting in less snow and more rain than usual. The magnitude of this flooding expanded across all of the British mainland and some of Northern Ireland, with flood warnings or serious flooding covering every inch of the country. What made these winters so severe was not any sudden magnitude of peak water levels, but the spatial extent and persistence of floodplain inundations. Over 16,000 properties were flooded during the winter of 2015, and although this is significant, the defenses set up, as seen in the picture here, due to serious flooding in the previous 20 years, helped protect over 20,000 properties. Throughout the spring and summer, the groundwater levels and river flows slowly returned to normal. The societal and economic impact of these floods were immense, with power lost all throughout the country, the collapse of hundreds of bridges, the closing of thousands of roads, and these all slowed down repair and recovery. The picture here, you can see all of the flows across the entire country. Rail services were unable to run due to infrastructure damage, and farms and agricultural areas all over the area were completely destroyed, and the flood damage resulted in claims for tens of thousands of properties. Hundreds of millions of dollars were funneled to recovery of infrastructure, arable land, urban homes, and much more. No lives were lost, but jobs, transportation, food supplies, and much more were harmed throughout the months. In response to these crazy winter floods, many studies were done on the anthropogenic impact component of the extreme events, and much research showed that these storms were widely due to the human impact on the climate. There was widespread emergency responses, and the government distributed aid and funding across the country, but there doesn't seem to be any significant change made to further prevention of events like this. A quote from Jamie Hannaford from the Center for Ecology and Hydrology states that in response, we are working hard with the central government to improve flood estimation and examine how potential mitigation measures, such as natural flood management, can help us reduce the impact of flooding in the future.